Oh, what a lad. Here we go. This is it. This is the moment everyone's been waiting for. I know everyone's super excited for this, and so am I, because we're in the presence of a legend. He started off as an NRL gun, playing for teams including the Warriors, Panthers and Manly, as well as representing his country at the highest level with the Kiwis. But all those sporting successes are easy to forget as post-footy, he's been able to create not just a cool brand, but a culture in the form of YKTR. He sells some of the coolest clothes on the planet and has one of the best podcasts in the game. He's also created YKTR Sports, which is changing sports media. And along the way, he's been inspiring so many by being always willing to share his knowledge. And of course, like all my guests are, he is an absolute lad. He's one of the greats. It is Isaac. John, welcome, bro.
Thanks for having me back again, bro. Are we going to talk about this?
Yeah, well, mate, I forgot to push record. Starstruck is one of the greatest content creators on the podcast. I got about 10 minutes through, but we're back and we're live and we're ready to go. Not live, but we're ready to go.
Once again, thank you for the kind intro. It's always weird when you hear those types of things. Obviously, you move so quickly through your day, and when people start to reflect like that, it's really interesting to hear. And yeah, grateful to be here, bro.
How do you look back on your career? Because obviously you've done so much. Your footy was probably, 4 or 5 years ago now. How do you look back on your sort of footy career?
I don't really remember it, to be honest. Like, I remember when I played football, like whenever we used to go out and like talk to girls, I never used to tell people I was a football player. Like, I hated being associated just as a football player. Never used to post like football. I post more stuff about me playing now than I did back then. I kind of had this weird stigma within me that I didn't really want to tell people, but I really enjoyed it. Like, many of the lessons that I learned in business transfer over. Plenty of them don't as well. So I look back with fond memories. I had some great coaches in terms of Ivan Cleary and mentors, and it's a skill set that you learn that you can transfer to your next part of your life if you use it correctly. Like the biggest one is like feedback loop. Like in a game, you can make a mistake, and on the run, you have to fix it and then get over it and then sort of move on to the next play. Or if the shape isn't working, you have to make adjustments. And then while that's all happening, bro, you got everyone sort of watching you as well, and then you're on national television. Yeah. So I think the feedback loop's really interesting when I look back on it now. And then you have to go to Monday, or sit in front of a video, and your names come up, and Isaac John missed tackle, led to try. So like that style, I really appreciate that now, because that's what business is like. Like, oh, this isn't working. Cool, let me make an adjustment on the go. And I sort of see myself as like a halfback as well. Like when the game's on the line, I want the ball. And when we lose, I'm happy to front the camera and say, fuck, we fucked up. So plenty of lessons there, bro.
One thing I did want to start with was a childhood friend of yours. I know you grew up with him in Tokarua. How good was it to see Quade Cooper back out there the other weekend kicking the winning goal for the Wallabies?
Yeah, full circle. And obviously not just kicking the goal against anyone, it was against the Box as well. So they're defending champs. The thing I loved about it is sort of the kick was great. And even just the way he sort of summed himself up afterwards and talked about his ego. Obviously, you got Hodge there, he's a station wagon, like he's got a big boot, you know what I mean? So he could knock it over pretty easily. But backed himself and got it done. And just even seeing his reaction, it was more like, give us something, Quade, not just the old humble, like, grateful. But yeah, I really enjoyed his speech afterwards and sort of how he carried himself. And that was probably the more impressive part. And 2011, like, had the world at his feet. He was exciting. It was kind of like that Carlos Spencer sort of vibe, first sort of influencer in that rugby sort of space, and everyone's paying attention to what he's wearing and how he's acting and sort of how he probably handled that. Is probably not the same person that he is today. So the evolution of Quade is something to be proud of, and proud to call him a friend.
Mate, that's so cool. It's so cool to see someone like that do that full circle, because like you said, no one wanted him for a while there. He's come around and he seems to really have grown as a person, and you can see that his footy's improved because of it. Yeah,
and he's like even though he's like famous, he's a low key dude. Like he hangs around his little brother, and Dill Brun, who looks after his like photography and stuff. Like he's not out there drinking. He doesn't drink and stuff anymore. Loves being around his family. Loves providing for his family. But Quade's always been that guy. He's always loved to have people in and around him. A lot of our friends, when he moved to Brisbane and he started to make it, like a lot of our friends that we grew up with used to go live with him and then go live with him for free, never ask him for anything. Was always looking after people and sort of stuff like that. So that's probably the side of Quade that a lot of people don't see. They see him driving a G-Wagon and rocking cool shit and hanging around Sunny Bull and he's fucking cool. But behind all that sort of that Instagram persona, there's a big heart there. And he's always been like that. He's always been Like he's always kind of like the leader of the group as well, so people sort of gravitate towards him. So him knocking over that kick is nothing. It's just a byproduct of the person that he is right now, and it's great to see it, and great to see him get some recognition off the back of it.
Yeah, so cool. So you grew up with Quade, you grew up with Sean Maitland, a couple of Kiwi legends and lads. So how come you went down the league path instead of follow those two down the rugby path?
My dad was just a pure league. He hated rugby, but we also had a league town, so we have 2 league teams in our hometown, and kind of just one now. We had 2 back in the day, but it's kind of merged into one. So a lot of those smaller towns around the Waikato area are kind of more league dominant. Even like Batata used to have league teams, and then Huntley have a couple teams. Ngarawahia have Turonga Wawe and the Panthers, and like, you know what I mean. So more blue collar in and around those areas, but yeah, we're kind of league towns in. My dad was my coach since we were 6 to 16, along with Quade. Like I used to play half, and Quade used to play first 5 or 5'8". But we like from 6 to 16, I reckon we would have lost about maybe 6 games all up.
True.
Yeah. So, and I can remember every loss that we had in teams and what age we were, because it didn't happen too often. So we were kind of that crew that had a bunch of mates, and we all grew up together and played together. And my dad used to do like Broncos training camps and stuff like that, like online courses and stuff. And we used to be running Bronco plays and stuff at like 10. So we were pretty advanced, but it set us up pretty well for football later on. And like he obviously moved over to, Quade obviously moved over to Churchie and Brisbane, because he went to Queensland when he was like 13 for a year, killed it, come back, played with us, and then ended up getting a scholarship there. But then by then, like me and my other friend Tums, like we were like 14, 15, and we were playing like open men's. So we're very advanced, and obviously you have to grow up pretty quick as well. You start drinking with the boys when you're 14, 15 and hang around parties and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a good place to grow up.
And was pro footy the dream even from that age? Obviously, if you're playing at that level at 14, you're probably thinking you're probably going to go pretty far.
Oh, it was my first game when I was 14. Like I went to go watch my older brother play, who was about 18 at the time, and we played Kawerau. And if you know the Kawerau region is well known for like mongrel mob. So, and we were kind of like a black power town. So I remember rocking up, and they were short of half, and like I was obviously like, pretty confident in myself, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm just going to jump on." Played well and stuff, but I remember these guys having like bulldogs on their face and stuff like that. And one of my mates, he was running, and he was about 18 as well, and he stepped this guy, and this mongrel mob dude just swipe kicked him, like didn't even try and kick, like proper like MMA, he kicked him, flipped him upside down, and then his mum come running on, and I remember this mongrel mob guy just going, I'll fuck you up, and I was like, oh shit, like I really shouldn't be here. But yeah, I was a confident kid trying to do chip and chases and shit like that. Wasn't making much tackles though, I'll just put it that way.
Did you ever get involved in gangs or anything?
Nah. Quade was a bit of a gangster when we were younger.
Was it?
Nah, I had really good parents. Obviously, it was in and around me. Like we were one of those towns where you couldn't wear a colour, and we couldn't wear red.
True.
So if you wore red, you have to get into a fight, basically. Oh, right. But I wasn't part of like. I wasn't nowhere near that sort of stuff. It was in and around me. When I was 5 years old, my rep coach was my uncle, and he was in the Black Power. And I've talked about the story on the Batuta Advocate, actually. And he gave me his key, and I remember this vividly. He gave me his key, and then he goes, go behind the grandstand at the local ground and open up the boot. So I was like, oh, cool, like 5 year olds, just do what you're told. Open up the boot. And then him and his 2 guys come running around the corner. They flipped up the mat, and there was like baseball bats underneath there as well. Jeez. And then these 2 like mongrel mobs come running around the corner. And I'm just standing like 5 years old. My mum's like, get over here. And the boys are just having a swing at each other with baseball bats. So like it was in and around me, but I just knew that wasn't for me. And in our hometown, like my dad, for example, everyone works in the mill. I just like, just looking at that mill in Kinleaf, what should we call it? That was my biggest motivation to get out. And I just saw sports as my way out. And
then you got signed by the Warriors. I think you're only 18 when you got signed by the Warriors. So, mate, you were a wizard at a young age.
Yeah, so I was signed to Parramatta when I was like 14, 15 as well.
True.
So on my school holidays, I used to come over here and do camps, and like Hainsey was the guy that I used to stay. Like just Hoz, the scope. He used to have a house where the boys used to come stay. I didn't stay in their house, but I used to always be over their house because they were Kiwi, and I could sort of relate to them as well. Yeah. So I was coming to Sydney probably 4 times a year to do training camps and stuff. And then the 20s was going to launch, and Tony Iro was a Cook Island guy, and sort of knew I could play a bit. And so that's how I got signed to the Warriors. Went from high school to training full time. So it's pretty interesting.
And then the Toyota Cup had just formed too around that stage too. I remember watching the Warriors under-20s play and seeing a young like Stacey Jones coming through the ranks and in the form of yourself. What was it like playing in that competition?
Yeah, it was cool. Like I got to play Premier League the year before, so and then we were the first year of 20s, and like when I look back on our side now, we were loaded. So I think like 15 of our starting 17 went on to go play NRL. So we had a really good side, and got done in the semi-finals to a pretty good Brisbane side. Never should have got done, but yeah, it was cool, bro. It was like that week in, week out sort of grind. We were on telly a lot, so it was kind of like we had this like bit of fame about us, which was like weird.
Yeah.
Which is good and a bad thing, but yeah, it was cool. Like, I really enjoyed everything about that. Obviously, had some really great coaches, and then sort of just progressed from there.
And fast-tracked into the Warriors the following year. What was it like going into that environment? Obviously, lots of legends in the side.
So, like, yeah, 2009 was a weird year because obviously we come off the back of 20s, and then we rolled into like a Premier League comp that wasn't as like, because 20s had taken over, like you're just kind of playing on random parks again. So when the week before I debuted, like we had a bye for our Premier League Cup, but then I had to go back down another level to play Otahu Cup, like play for Otahu and Fox Memorial.
Yeah.
So I went from playing Fox Memorial, then debuting against the Roosters, and Stacey Jones was my halfback, so it was fucking trippy, man. We ended up winning, and I only played like 3 games that year. But it was a good year. Sort of next year, I come in and we won 5 or 6 games in a row, which was like pretty exciting for me at the time, and got re-signed off the back of that, but ended up doing my ACL the same year. So big seven receiver took a dive at my leg and got me. So that'll do it.
Brutal. But did you feel confident when you got your chance to play for the Warriors? Did you always feel comfortable in the environment, or not really?
Yeah, I was one of those players, bro. So if you watch me play like Reggie's and that, like I probably wouldn't stand out too much. But then as I got higher and higher, like I was able to control things around me a lot better. Like the bigger the game, I was always a lot better. Even in 20s final, I think in the 20s final series, I scored like 5 or 6 tries. I was setting them up flat, like and then rolled into first grade, my debut. I set up a really good try. And even when I come back to Penrith and when I was actually focused on football, which is the other part of the equation, the bigger the game, I always got better. So I was always confident I could do something, but I was kind of injury plagued as well. So, and that's just what it is. And I'm grateful for those injuries now because it sort of pushed me towards that reading. So Michael Luck, who was like the OG toiler back in the day and great number 30 for the Warriors, he was very unassuming. Like you'd look at him and you're like, fuck, he must be the dumbest cunt because his head's always in the wrong place. He's always stitched up. But then you had a conversation with him outside of it. Like I used to always go for coffees and I always hung around the older boys. Jake Lilliman was my roommate. So them two had this little Townsville connection. So he's hanging around those boys and like you talk to him, bro, he's so interesting. Like diverse on so many different levels. Could talk about everything. And he introduced me to my first couple books while I had an ACL. And obviously, I done well in school as well, so reading wasn't like a chore for me. But I really started to enjoy it and sort of it sort of grew from there. I just really love reading off the back of that.
That's cool. And that's sort of how you sort of learnt the whole sort of business side of things from those injuries, was it? Was that when you started looking ahead for life after rugby? I
used to like jump on, like 2010, I was jumping on like, how can I make money online? I was asking these types of questions. But yeah, it was more so your reading progression, like you start reading things that you're interested about. So I was reading about the Tour de France and Lance Armstrong and stuff like that because I was on the bike every single day. So I wanted to, and then I was reading about boxing, so I'd read Mike Tyson's. Then you gravitate from like autobiographies into self-development. So The Secret was kind of a big thing at the time. You kind of get bored of that. You move into business. And then I found myself reading books about business or entrepreneurs or talking to guys like that had friends in the business space that were just traveling to LA for a couple of days. Like I just thought that was so sick. And that made my stomach was like getting more excited about that than football. And I kind of knew that was my time to transition. Obviously, this is a lot later in life. And read about 100 books by then, but I found my interest peaking in different things. So, just kind of gravitated towards that after.
So you mentioned before around when you put your mind to sort of the footy. What was your league lifestyle like? Were you a hard trainer or were you a pretty cruisy sort of guy?
So early on, I was a very hard trainer because, like, I loved football. Like, I used to watch it all the time. I was like, I can talk about football really well because I really enjoyed video sessions and I'll talk to assistant coaches and I just really enjoyed. Have you watched Mighty Ducks?
Oh, long time ago.
Oh, so like there's a guy named Charlie Conway, and he's an okay player, but he makes like a better coach. Like he sort of sacrifice. I always thought I was going to be like him. Like I always thought I was going to gravitate towards coaching because I enjoyed the X's and O's about it. So obviously when things were going well for me, like I was off the piss, like I was studying, I was learning about the game. I used to go off and do my own training camps and stuff. Not train on my own, but there's a guy named Keegan Smith who is pretty well known because he trained Sonny Bill. Yeah. He used to be the Roosters trainer, so I used to be like inquisitive about like reading about nutrition, about all this sort of stuff. I would go up to Byron Bay and do 3-day camps and stuff like that. I was kind of that guy because I knew I had basic talent, or like above average talent, but I knew I just wasn't like a Shawnee Johnson or a Kevin Locke or someone that could just rock up in a day and do something special. I was one of those guys that had to tick all the boxes. Yeah. And when I was doing that, I was playing really good football. Like obviously you got to play test football, come back and played against the Warriors, scored a hat-trick, all that sort of stuff. And that's because I was ticking all the boxes outside the field. And the other side of it as well, like I was always kind of like the boys' boy as well. I loved being in group chats and WhatsApp groups and loved having a beer on the weekend and all that sort of stuff as well. But that sort of is how YKTR started. I hung around two boys that loved to get on the piss, and I was one of those guys as well. So, there was two parts of me. When I was ticking boxes, I was playing really good football. I was never your superstar. I was never going to be. But I could do a really good job for you and have an influence on the result. And then there was the other side where I'd be going out on the weekend and I'd start thinking, fuck, I wonder why my footy's going downhill. And that was probably the reason why.
So you mentioned your obviously your game against the Warriors when you'd moved to the Panthers. Absolute clinic, 3 tries. Was that sort of the game of your career? Yeah,
easily. It's just like sometimes you hear about players or artists and they talk about that flow state or that state of flow, and it's like you can't really remember it. That's what that game was like. Like I don't like. Only reason I remember it is because people show me highlights every year when it pops up. Yeah. Like I don't remember the lead up to. Only thing I remember is Ivan on captain's run going, just treat it like another game, and the only thing I remember after the game is goes, you won't get that every week. That 24 hours between that, like I literally don't remember it. So I love to sit there and go, like I was seeing things like super clear, and I was hitting watermelons, or the hoop looked like that big. Like I wish I could say that stuff, but it just wouldn't be true. And I know I'd make good micro content. I get that, but like, I literally don't remember it, bro. I don't remember a thing about it.
And on the back of that game, you get called into the Kiwis, which was probably a little bit of a shock. What was it like finding out that you'd made the Kiwis?
Actually, it was actually the year after. So I strung it together a pretty good 13, played the whole season there. And then the next year was weird. So we just signed Peter Wallace and Jamie Soward. So they got first crack at 5'8". Yeah. And I was kind of in and out the first 6 weeks. And then I actually made the Kiwis from reserve grade. True. So I dropped back to reserve grade, not by form, just out of circumstance because the boys were back in. And then, so I was playing reserve grade, and then I got called into the Kiwis from there. So it reminded me of that time I played for Otahu, and then next minute I was playing for fucking NRL. So I wasn't flustered by it, but like I really enjoyed the experience. We got like 40K. Like I got 40K for that game. That's what I remember.
Jackpot. No wonder you was confident and stoked.
Yeah, 100%. And I come off the bench as well. So it was the first time I'd ever come off the bench. First time I'd ever played like a test match, and we actually went alright. We had a pretty young side, and everyone was writing us off. Funny story actually. So I didn't think I was going to make it. So I played on a Saturday, rolled into the casino, got home at 5 with Dean Fuddy, and Dean Fuddy was always going to make it. And it was a Friday game. Yeah. So we got called into camp. We had to go to Chinatown, and we stayed in a hotel. Bro, hungover as fuck. Didn't think I was going to make it. And I roll into camp, and then I sit down to have brekkie, and on the back page, it's like me versus Thurston. So Thurston's the 6'4". Yeah. Thurston's the 6'4", and I'm the 6'15". And they were comparing our last couple games. So they're like, Ice is on 120K, and Thurston's worth $1 million. And then Ice's next game, he's playing reserve grade up in Cessnock. And I'm just sitting there like hungover, stuff like this, and then looking at that. And then we went out for dinner, and Stephen Kearney was our coach, and he goes, all right, boys, everyone just have a couple beers tonight, it'll be good. And like, I literally couldn't eat because I was too hungover. Yeah. And he goes, are you going to eat? I was like, I can't, bro. Like, I'll fucking spew it up. He goes, why is that? He goes, bro, I'm just hungover, to be honest. I didn't think I was going to make it. So, yeah, that was the start of my Kiwi camp. But even in that game, went good. Like I said a little bit earlier, like as the games got bigger, I feel like I could always rise to occasion. But if you watch me play down on park footy, you'd be like, fuck, who's this dad?
So is that quite common to just go out on the piss before camps and stuff like that, or is that sort of a league thing?
Yeah, would have been back in the day.
Yeah.
Like Ivan was kind of like, if we lost 3 games at the Warriors, all right, boys, everyone's on the piss on a Monday.
True.
And like trainees, everyone there, but like the coaches will come for the first 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Training will stay with us. We'll have a few beers. Everyone home by midnight. We were there about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Far out.
Beauty week. So that was kind of the culture. I don't think it's like that anymore. Definitely not anymore. But that was a Sunday night. So Kearney's like, oh, first night in camp, let's have a couple beers together. Like nothing crazy, bro. Like 4 or 5 beers and a bit of dinner, and that's about it. But back in the day, it was a vibe, bro.
It's crazy.
Mondays down and up in Ponsonby, just getting blind. Grouse. No one around too, so you can't really get in trouble.
Yeah, no social media back then, really, was there? Or was there?
Nah. Starting like Facebook.
Yeah.
MySpace.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's how old we are, bro.
Bebo.
Yeah, Bebo. Roll into Denny's after, have a feed and cruise home. So it was good.
Mate. And then the next move was to Manly?
No. So I went to UK after a thing, but fuck that.
So what happened there? What happened in the UK?
I signed a 3-year contract, and it kind of just fell out with the coach out of nowhere. And it was a weird coach. Like he was very sound, but he was kind of going through a divorce and stuff at the same time. So some days you'd be sweet and you'd be your mate. Next day you fucking walking on eggshells around him and like just snappy. So when you come from like Tony Ira and Ivan Cleary, who's like laid back and well thought out, they don't waste words, and you go into this guy who's going like, you fucking stand up, like what the fuck are you doing here in video? You feel like you're in the assembly at intermediate and in trouble. So just very different styles, and just kind of fell out with the coach, and he pulled me in the office one time and he goes, no matter how well you play, I'll never play you again, or no matter how well you train, I don't care. And I still had 2.5 years on my contract.
Oh wow.
So I was just sitting there like, I was 21, I was just going, what? You've got me over here, like stuff like this. And like they were playing really good football without me. And I was just like, oh, cool, that's what it is. Then he used to try and give me all the shit jobs, bro. So obviously I understand this now within business. It's like you try and smoke someone out the business by applying pressure. That's like a business tactic that you use. So that's what he was trying to do to me. So I had to be out training at 5 and with the Fat Club, like, training, and I was just training harder and harder, and I was rocking out with a smile on my face, like he couldn't get rid of me. I'll just go, yeah, fuck it, I'll be going to IB at the end of the year anyway. But the best thing about it was like my back was against the wall, and I started training hard as, and by the time I got back to Penrith, which was round 1 of the 2013 season, I was probably in the best shape I'd ever been, and I was kind of doing it like out of spite as well. But my first day at Penrith training was like my last day in Yorkshire it was one of the coldest days in Yorkshire where it was like minus 13. I jumped on a 48-hour, like I trained that day, like I was in a dinner suit. I was like, fuck, I'm not getting energy for these cunts. Trained that day, jumped on a plane that night, and it was like 36 hours before I landed in Penrith. And I got put up in this random hotel. I was there for a week, had to figure out a place to stay. And I rocked up to training, it was the first day, and it was the last little touch-up before round 1. And like it's like 45 degrees, so I've gone from like minus 14, jet lagged, 45, and I've told Ivor, I was like, don't worry about it, like I'm best shape, because he'd seen me train at the Warriors, and I used to get the highest in the beep test and stuff. It was like me and Mannering at the end, like nice little Nelson boy. And like so he knew I was fit, and then I was going, oh bro, I'm fitter than I was at the Warriors, trust me. And I rocked up and I was in good shape. But it's just obviously the time difference and fucking humidity. I was playing fullback, I just like tugging along. I was like, "Don't worry, I'll be ready in a week." So, but it set me up. Like I rocked up and played about 4 or 5 games of reserve grade and rolled into first grade and done a good job. But yeah, that Manly thing. I think I'd half checked out. I just hadn't admitted it to myself. Trent Barrett's my coach, and we got along real well. I was just like, "Oh, bro, can I just come Manly with you for a year?" Just see how I go. I never said that I was looking at retiring, but I just knew, like I was going to Manly and get on the piss, to be honest.
Yeah.
So at the time, I'd read a bunch of different books. We toyed with the idea of YKTR. I had just done a bunch of traveling. I just come off the back of 6 weeks of traveling, where we went to Bali, New York, Texas, LA for 6 weeks, bro. And I just got back to train. I was like, fuck, I'd rather be doing that than being here.
Yeah.
So that's when the big transition started to change, and had a few injuries there. And the last one was I tore my pec. And I remember going to the change room and going, fuck, I'm over football. Like, this is the first time I said it out loud. And I just go, fuck, I think I'm going to retire. And it was just me in the change room. And I was like, as soon as I said it, bro, it was just like, whew. I felt like 10 times lighter. And like, obviously when I look back now, I'm like, oh shit, that's pretty scary to sort of leave something that you've always known. But at the time, I just knew something was pulling me away. And I knew if I hung around football, I wasn't going to be happy. And Trent Barron had offered me a coaching gig there. So I could have coached the 20s, and then he goes, oh, you'll be my assistant later.
Yeah.
And that's what I always thought I was going to head into coaching. I thought I would be really good at it. But I just had something else pulling me this other way, and sort of glad I followed it.
Mate, that's crazy. Crazy that you had the coaching gigs, everything set out, your life after footy sorted, but you chased the dream of doing what you want to do. It's so cool.
Yeah, and like able to inspire a lot more people by what I'm doing. I obviously didn't know I was going to be sitting here in this like fucking nice office with staff and shit like that. But every time my guts like dropped after football, I've always sort of followed it. Like, let's start vlogging. Like, let's start a podcast. Like, let's start YKTR Sports. Do multiple other things on the other side. And I've always sort of followed that gut instinct. And it's kind of a weird thing to talk about, but it's always sort of steered me in the right direction.
So cool. Do you look back at your footy career and think you would have done anything differently if you had another crack at it?
Yeah, so I feel like me and Scope were talking about this, like it's the same thing with business. So in sports, you're measured by scoreboards, and business, you're measured by money.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm doing something, and whenever I'm ticking the boxes, I'm going for runs, I'm working out, I'm eating all the right things, I'm reading books and stuff like that. It's like our business goes like that. You know what I mean? The same way your sports does. So I wish I knew what I knew back then, but then in the other breath, I'm glad things went that way, because I'm 32. I might have just been retiring like a year and a half ago or a year, or I might be in England trying to fucking scratch for a deal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I'm grateful for the way the things worked out. My injuries were my best part of my career, because it led me to reading. Me partying with the boys led me to YKTR. So everything happens for a reason. And let's just put it this way: if Wayne Bennett come through and offered me like a 3-year contract on fucking $500K a year, I'd happily turn it down.
Yeah.
And because the position I'm in right now, I'd rather be right here. I control my own destiny. I control what my days look like. I can travel whenever I want, obviously besides COVID. I can do whatever I want, bro. And that type of freedom is exciting to me. When you're in football, bro, it's like be here, wear this, say this, make sure you're at the airport by this time. Oh, you're in front of media, don't say this. Yeah. Like, get to this corner. If we complete it 35 sets out of 40, we have a good chance of winning. Don't do that. So and it fucks you after football, because you're so used to being told what to do, especially if you're going from school to football. Once you get out, you think you're chasing freedom, bro, but you're actually not. Like, you actually crave that routine again. So like I left football and I was like, oh, this is going to be the best. I'm just going to get on the piss and sleep in. And then after about a month or two, I'm like, fuck, I'm like scattered. I didn't know what to do. So it sort of restructured my life, how it had been my whole life. And 9 o'clock, do this, 10 o'clock, do this. And I felt my life a lot better off the back of that.
True, man. That's so cool to hear. So was your plan always to get into sort of the content creation sort of thing, or how did you sort of get into where you are now?
So when I was at Wakefield, we used to do this thing. So we had 3 teams within your sports team, with our footy team. And like, obviously, say there's 30 in your squad, there was 10 in each squad. And then you had to make it like a parody style video and then present it. And then the loser had to dance in front of everyone. That was just kind of like the thing that they did. And just because I was a new guy there, Richard Agar made me like the leader. And then I filmed like my very first vlog. And like, it was compared to the boys, it was elite. Like the thought of angles and the sounding, and like I learned how to edit on the spot there. Started doing that. Used to watch a lot of YouTube as well. I was big into Vice, and there used to be a Nate Robinson YouTube thing called State of Nate, and we used to watch that all the time. So me and Chico just done like our own version of that. That was kind of like my second vlog. Yeah. But I just found when I was traveling, I just wanted to do videos and take photos. And like, people look at Kalen now and think he's like the coolest dude taking photos. But when I was doing that, I was getting paid. Like, I was a footy guy that read books and took photos and like, wanted to talk about different shit. And I was a fucking weird cunt.
You're ahead of your time, bro.
So, yeah, I know. That's what I tell the boys. I fucking paved the way for you. I was just, those types of interests is that, like, walking around and learning how to edit on the camera, take photos and like manual and shoot content and read books and do online courses. I was always kind of into that stuff because that was the stuff that interested me. But I never knew content was going to be the thing. I knew I could make it, but I found when I started listening to Gary Vee, He said like each clothing brand should have a vlog, or each clothing brand should have a podcast, and it was a big part of everything that we've done. Like I started vlogging. I'm glad I did, because people were like, oh, you're lucky you're there now because you know football players. Like, nah, go back to like vlog number 1 on YouTube and you'll see me fucking about to cry on packing orders. Fucking stressful as fuck.
Yeah, I bet. And clothes. So why sort of clothes? Because I've heard you say before you don't even really like clothes, but why'd you go down the clothes route instead of another sort of product?
Just felt like it was the easiest thing to do. It just had an easy entrance point. Like anyone could start a clothing brand today. Like it's not hard to go down and put 4 letters on a t-shirt. And it was just kind of that. So we were going out heaps, and we were just like, YKTR was just something we used to sound like girls' accounts, like, you know the rules. And it kind of just stuck because it looked a little bit weird. Like even when I say, like, when people go, what's YKTR stand for? And I say, you know the rules, it still go like, kind of had this little catchy thing about it. And then we printed it on a t-shirt one time. I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. And we were going for general pants, and we're like, fuck, I feel like our stuff looks better than this. So it was just kind of that inquisitive thing about it. But it just felt easy. Like I know a lot of people got clothing brands right now, but there wasn't anyone that we could look to that was like, it reminded me coming from Toke when there was no NRL players from there.
Yeah.
It was just like, fuck, why can't we do that? And it was kind of more that inquisitive thing as well. And obviously we started making them, and we're selling them to our like footy mates for like $20. And we're like, fuck, we're killing it.
Yeah.
And then we kind of just grew off the back of that as well. And it's not like I was into clothes at the time. I was into shoes. Like I used to have like 80 pairs of shoes and used to like line up online. So I was into clothes at the time.
Yeah.
I think I've gravitated away from that. But yeah, I just thought I thought it'd be cool when you walk past someone and they're wearing your brand. Like I thought that would have been cool at the time. And obviously you get to see that now, but that was just kind of like the easiest business I could think of, to be honest.
And now everyone's wearing it. It's taken over, taking over Australasia, mate. It's on absolute fire. So it's crazy how you sort of still blown away with how you sort of had this contract to be an NRL coach or have a progression into that setup, but then you sort of gambled because obviously you didn't know you were going to be making money from clothes or like enough to sort of live off. Or how did you sort of survive that first period? Did you have money saved up, or did you have investments, or what was the sort of go there?
No. So it was kind of weird. Like the day that my contract finished was the day that my house cleared. So I bought a house off the plan 2 years before when I was at Penrith. So I went from Manly, which is like a beautiful part of the world, all the way back out to Penrith. And then I just had a house in a 2-bedroom. I was like, oh, cool, I'll just put YKTR, all the clothes in that spare bedroom, and we'll try and grow from there. And I had a bit of savings behind me, but it just went like that.
Yeah.
And like I was struggling for like, oh no, do you know what? I actually played park football. I was getting paid $1,000 a game to play reserve grade. Oh, yeah. Fucking the most lackluster effort you would ever see from it. Like people look at like, this is come play Kiwis.
Nobody on the line there.
No. And the thing was, bro, like I had to pay for my own health insurance over here.
Oh, true.
Within that team. So I was so used to it just being paid for me.
Yeah.
And like I couldn't afford to pay the $150 a month because that's just like, I was paying off a mortgage and it was only interest only, and I was like trying to get by on food and stuff. So I made a decision not to pay the insurance, and then fucking dinner suit straight on, like never in the line, making fuck all tackles, because I knew if I got injured I wouldn't be able to post on my YKTR stuff. So you should have seen how far back I was playing from the line, and I knew if I got injured, this could fuck my YKTR thing, because I was the guy. I was hand packing everything. I was building all the websites. I was doing all that sort of stuff as well. And I kind of just had no money, bro. I was getting by. Like, I think I still got the photos. It should be in my iCloud. Like, I remember going to the supermarket with like gold coins in my hands, and it was like $14 or $15 in gold coins that I'd found, and I was like, fuck, I need to get food for the next week and like stuff like that. So you going from getting paid 6 figures as an NRL player, whacking through all your savings, trying to pay off a mortgage. You think you need because everyone's told you that you need to buy a house or you should have a house by the time you finish football, and to walk into the supermarket with like gold coins in my hand going, fuck, what can I get for this? And I was mad. Like, and then saying that, bro, like I could have gone to my mum and gone, hey mum, like fuck, I need some money. Like she would send me some money. It wasn't like do or die. But also before things started to get really good, or not even great, like my power got cut off. So when you're running an e-commerce business and you need power, so I was down at the bottom of my house, and where I used to park my car, it was a brand new house. There was a power point right by my car.
Yeah.
So I used to go down there, plug it in, and then just run YKTR from an iPhone down there.
Holy hell.
Power got cut off. Used to have to drive to the post office to do all my deliveries and stuff. Car engine blew up. It's like a $5,000 fix. I was like nowhere near that type of money. And it was just kind of like, I knew if I got through that period, I could get through anything. And that was just my time where I had no power for 2 weeks. I was just having cold showers. And in saying that, Natasha, who works for me now, she lived across the road, had this beautiful house. She goes, come over, you can have internet, hot showers and stuff like that. And like I said, I sound like I'm doing it tough here, but I was putting myself in those situations as well, because I knew if I go over and have a hot shower, I'm just taking like the easy way out. That was kind of the way that I saw it. And then we started to go all right. Like I started vlogging and we started going all right. And I got my first pay as YKTR, and it was like $35,000 a year. That was like my first pay.
True.
And that was like, I think it was like $450 a week. And I think my interest only loan was like $300 a week.
Oh, yeah.
And that, and honestly, when I got that and cleared that with the boys, like I said before, like I made $40,000 playing one game of football. And that $35,000 has felt like the most money I've ever made in my whole life. And in a position now where got multiple streams and doing good things and buying Bitcoin and shit like that. I've never been more excited than I was driving home that day and making $35K a year, $450 a week or some shit like that. I was like, fuck, I've made it.
Did you ever get to the point where you felt like it was too much? You were gonna give up on it, or no?
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah. Like I was like, I put myself under so much stress. Like I got rid of my TV. Like if I wasn't like working on YKT, I was online courses, I was books. I was up till like 2 a.m. Like I got up at 2:30 this morning. Like I used to be up at 2 a.m. Then I would sleep at 5. I had this weird thing that I was going to get outworked. You know what I mean? So there's a really important part that I had to go through. And the reason why we can sit here today is because I went through that time. Yeah. But also like I just put way too much pressure on myself, and I was just stressful. I was angry. I was snappy. I remember looking back and like people, like we sold out something, bro. And I remember like almost crying, like, cause I was just so tired and like, but that back in the day, it's like when we used to sell out, I was like, fuck, now I have to pack like a couple hundred orders tomorrow. And it was just bang, bang, bang. So, yeah, I don't know. Fuck, I associate that as like the preseason of like, if you go through that, you can set yourself up for a little bit later. And now it's just kind of my little 8 to 9 month preseason.
Mate, that's inspiring stuff. From the bottom, as Drake once said, what started at the bottom, now you're here. What a journey. But and also your podcast as well. You've got one of the great podcasts on the market at the moment, the ICE Project. So when did that sort of start? Yeah, I
was probably about a year after we started vlogging. Like we had an office in Parramatta, and I just found myself having really interesting conversations with a lot of people. I feel like I could always speak really, really well, and like a lot of people used to say very unassuming, because I'd be like a islander from Tukuru that plays football, and I'd sit in conversation. I could have a diverse conversation, so I just kind of wanted to evolve from that. I just wanted to interview people. The main reason I done it, bro, is because like if someone comes asks me, hey bro, can I buy you a coffee if I can pick your brain for an hour? Like I used to kind of be that guy. I was like, hey bro, can I come spend some time with you because I want to learn from you? Yeah. But what you learn about podcasts, and everyone's favorite subject is themselves. Like I'm like, oh, what a lad! Like he's a good pod. Like this is basically I'm just talking about myself, and it makes me feel good. And I knew that. So when I interview people, I get them talking about themselves, and then I could sort of build a network off the back of that. So that was kind of like the main reason I've done it. Like it's easier to get someone on the podcast than it is to spend an hour with them asking them if you can buy them a coffee. Because essentially you're saying their time's worth $4. Yeah. So that's how like successful people see it. They're like, oh, I can make $1,000 in an hour. Why am I going to go spend $4? Yeah. Listen to another guy selling a clothing brand. So that was sort of the main reason. But I just needed more content as well.
Mate, that's so cool. And YKTR, you talk about more content. YKTR Sports is formed and changing sports media. One of the coolest things. What was the idea behind this one?
I heard myself, like I was complaining about Fox Sports a lot, talking guys about NRL's 360 and stuff like that. And I remember listening back to the loop on the micro clip, and I was like, oh, they should be doing this. And then I remember hearing it back, and I was like, bro, if you're not going to do anything, like shut the fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? And it was kind of one of those moments. And my nan had passed away, and I was flying back this way. And I remember my phone going flat, and I always carry like a blank pad and pen, just whenever I have ideas, write down new business models and stuff like that. And I had 3 hours on a plane where I don't really watch movies on planes and stuff as well. I just like to sit there and think and stuff like that. And it was kind of built off the back of that, where I was just like, oh, if you're not going to do anything about it, like how can we change it? And we started looking at different business models like Barstool Sports and Complex and Bleacher Report and stuff like that. I just felt like we could do better. I just felt like we could, as a country, we could be better in terms of packaging up this product that we have in rugby league and distributing it out to fans in a different way. And I seen the success that we'd had off the back of YKTR. I was thought, fuck, why can't I do this for more people? Or why can't we bring in more talent and change it? And to be honest, it's changed a lot, bro. We were initially going to be like a complex style where we would create our own shows, and it might be like a sneaker shopping or hot ones, or like we kind of wanted to do that content, and we will. But because of COVID, we were kind of limited, so we just went full podcast mode. So that's the idea behind it. We've got some pretty cool projects coming up in the next couple of weeks that you'll probably see where we're trying to head down. Obviously can't talk about them too much now. Yeah. But then after back of that, it's just build a better relationship between players and fans. Because right now there's this big media war that dictates narrative, and we just want to break that down. And it should be direct to fan. I think Sean Johnson probably does it the best at the moment. Like I thought we were going to be the company, and they're like, all right, Sean is going back to the Warriors. Like he'll want to come speak to us before he goes to speak to. But the best way to do it is just go direct. Yeah. Like everyone's got a social media account, and probably Shawnee does it the best, bro. Yeah. Like he's self-aware now. He's a little bit more mature. He's older. He articulates himself well. So if he hears rumors about him, he'll just jump on. Hey guys, hearing rumors, and that's the way it should be. Yeah. Like you shouldn't let the media dictate your own narrative. So, but I think we've had a minor influence on how people operate now. But I just want to scale it out, and there's a few different business models you can build off the back of it. But I think we can be a big player in this space pretty soon.
No doubt. And you talk about like the player brands, Sean Johnson's player brand, etc. What do you think players need to do to sort of grow their brand, especially these young guys coming through? What advice would you have for these guys?
There's a couple of guys that I'm kind of tight with now from New Zealand that will probably reference. TJ Perenara does it really well. Adi Lavia and Aaron Smith. And those are the three guys that are probably in my DMs more than anyone else. Like for guys that are super successful, like Artie's just gone on to captain the All Blacks, and Aaron's played over 100 games, and TJ's doing this thing as well. He's back in there. Man, the types of questions that they ask, they move like a little bit differently. And the way that my answer to that would be maximize your leverage right now, but maximize your leverage in the right way. Like don't use your leverage to skip a line and get a coffee, or get a free line of kombucha, or come to YKTR and go, hey bro, I've got fucking 5,000 followers, give me some clothes. Maximize it in the point where right now you're relevant and people are interested in what you want to see and what you want to do, or what you're doing in your everyday life. That's the catch. Like a lot of people think they want to see the 80 minutes at the end. No, like what's Ricky Ioane, like what's he eating at Macca's on a drive-through? That's content. Or what's he doing a day off? Like that's content. What are the boys talking about when they go from field to weights? Like that's where the beauty part of content is right now, and that's why reality shows are really popular, and people like myself can create vlogs, so people are actually interested in your everyday life, and it's not so much about the training, it's not so much about the football, because we see the polished product at the end, we see the 80 minutes. Bro, what's fucking Aaron Smith doing on a Tuesday? Like, and that's how I see content. So I'd be creating my own content in some way, shape, or form, whether it be podcasts, vlogging, Q&As are really important. Create a touch point with your fan base, build a community, and then later on you can add a product. We call that product to market fit. So as an All Black, you've got the ultimate leverage. And it's just like, how do I maximize this, but do it in a way that that's positive, that can make a change. And once you get that DM, like, hey, bro, you've changed my life, man. That shit becomes euphoric and it gets addictive, and you just want more of it, bro. So you start to gravitate towards that. And you find you can monetize it sooner or later through some way, shape, or form. And like I've mentioned those boys as well, and we've kind of got a business model that we're potentially going to chase next year. I think it's going to be really cool, and I think it could really work. So yeah, that's types of convos I'm having at the moment.
Mate, exciting times. And another thing around that space is NFTs. I'm pretty keen to hear your thoughts on NFTs and how that's going to come into the game of rugby and rugby league.
It's going to take a while. I don't think there's a... Do you own any Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency?
I've got crypto, yeah. Bitcoin, ETH.
Yeah, cool. So like in this office where I'm like, hey boys, get in crypto. Like, I've been saying this since like February, boys, get into crypto, get in crypto. Probably the boys collectively would only have about $2,000 worth of crypto in there. You know what I mean? And we just don't have that full adoption of it as well. In terms of NFTs, I think it's going to be a big space moving forward. I think all tickets are going to be sold through that as well. So imagine having we used to put tickets behind. I was at the 2011 grand final when Beaver hit that. Like that can become an NFT pretty soon. But the way I sort of see it in player sort of space, and I've talked about this before, let's use Ardie Savea. He's probably the most forward-thinking athlete in New Zealand right now. So he could sell an NFT every single year and say like a gold standard one would be worth, say he's 100 NFTs and the gold one's worth $20,000. So instead of a business going to sponsor the Hurricanes, because they love Ardie Savea, potentially they could sponsor Ardie as a gold NFT for $20,000. But as a part of that token, Ardie's going to give you you can do 2 campaigns with him throughout the year. You get invited to his networking space and dinners, and the other guys that have 4 NFT, the other 4 holders of those gold NFTs, you get a networking opportunities, and you get to, like, you know what I mean? You start to think like that. Yeah. And you tear it down to like a silver version, and silver version might get you a signed jersey from a Bledisloe Cup game, and you get to rock up to a game, and that's $15,000. Then you go down there, then you just have all these different levels of tokens, and you can level it out like that. And that way, a player can maximize the potential of his own brand without taking too much away from, unless you, like ad sponsors and all that sort of stuff like that. So I think that's going to be the way forward. And then that's when you'll see guys, and this is why I'm talking about content right now. So like you create your content, you start liking every comment that's, hey bro, thank you. Thanks for coming to the game. Appreciate you guys, all that sort of stuff. Hey guys, I'm just in the locker room after the game. Let's go have a quick chat. You build that community, you build that trust. And when you drop that product in as an NFT, you're going to you can make a bit of money, and then you can also create make a change as well. And the fun thing about NFTs, bro, once you build them into a smart contract, you can have royalties off the back of that as well. So you might have a fan that's bought a $100 NFT, and then say Ardie's form starts going up. Yeah. And you know what I mean? And that NFT is worth potentially $200 now. If he sells that to that person, Ardie can get a clip back on the royalties as well. So
right. It's interesting, eh? It is.
It's still crazy. A while off.
Do you think you have to be an All Black, or what level would you start looking at it? Say you're a young 19-year-old prodigy, would you even get into that space, or do you think you need to be more elite?
Obviously, the more elite guys are going to get the bigger deals. It's the same way with sponsorship. Like Aaron Smith probably gets a better Adidas deal than I would ever would, because he's a fucking 100-test All Black, or Dan Carter. So there's always going to be levels to that, but you launch I talked about this before, I was into sports cards last year, but you might have a rookie NFT as well. So in sports cards, your rookie card's always worth the most, because you only get one rookie card. Yeah. So people value that rookie card more than any other card. Potentially, they could get a little clip from that as well. But obviously the numbers won't be as wide. Like Ardie might be able to sell 1,000 NFTs, where this person might be able to sell 100. Yeah. But it'd be great for a fan building exercise as well. But in saying that, the best players, the guys with the most leverage are always going to get the most money. That's just the way it is.
Right. Exciting times. Looking forward to seeing that sort of stuff get into it and see who stays ahead of the game, in that space.
I think Ardie will be there.
I saw a post that he put out an NFT teaser the other day. I'm not sure if he's coming out with something like that soon, or I'm not even sure what the NZRU requirements around them are, whether even if it's possible, because I know they own a lot of the player rights at the moment, and whether that can change or what that sort of looks like.
I've been talking to Clint Newton, who runs the Rugby League Players Association over here, and they're doing the CBA pretty soon for NRL, and I was like, bro, you got to go in and let the players have their own rights to their own name. So within NRL, say Corey's going to go play, I can't film him on game day, like that 24 hours of game day, the NRL owning the rights to him as well. But that's kind of where the gold is. We done a podcast, we done a vlog a couple of years ago, and he ended up winning droppy against West Tigers, and we filmed up the whole day, bro. And it was the best content. I was up all night editing it, and I dropped it at 7 o'clock the next morning, and got this mad reaction off the back of it. But that's where the gold is, bro. I know a lot of people say the 80-minute performance and stuff like that, but right now, basketball's my favorite, one of my favorite sports. Never watch a full game, bro. Russell Westbrook wearing? Like, he's in a skirt at the moment. Or what's LeBron? And I love watching his kids come up and where are these boys eating or stuff like that, bro. So I find that little cross correlation between culture and sports really interesting.
So cool. And what's the plans for you in the next sort of 5 years? What's your dreams?
Just be happy, bro. To be honest, like if that's like a personal one, like I love everything about my life right now. Love it from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, and I just want to be in a position where I do that. I want YKTR Sports to be like a serious player. I don't know where we monetize that or where we sort of move from that, but I think I'll be able to figure it out. And I want YKTR. My goal is to provide the most value, either entertainment or education. I just want to be a part of people's lives. I want to be a part of their watch time on their phones when they get home. I want to be a part of their wardrobe. I want to be part of things that make them happy and things that make them think as well. So that's where I'm lined up, and this is where my focus is going. And like I said, everything else, you can sell a product or service off the back of that any way, shape or form. So goal, be happy, and 2, provide value. That's kind of it.
Mate, wow, how good.
That's it, bro.
Mate, as always, we've gone to our Instagram for some questions, came up with heaps. So many fans just wanted to shout out to you, but I've narrowed it down to a few. What percentage of your income do you allocate to crypto? So I know you're big on crypto, so this is good.
I'm close, like, it's kind of hard because I've got 4 streams of revenue right now. So I live off one, and then pretty much all the other ones, whatever I get, that fluctuates. Like, they're not salaries. So say 1 week I make $1,000, I'll put that whole $1,000 in. Some weeks I might make 300 on top of. So like I live off my YKTR wage, and then everything else goes into crypto or shares. So I've been going pretty hard. Not as hard as TJ, but he's going good at the moment. He's going really good.
Mate, he's making enough to check a fair bit in there, I'd imagine.
So he'd be the same. Like, obviously you get different salaries from NZRU and Super Rugby and stuff like that. So he's probably just living, I'm just guessing, he's living off one, and the rest is going in there, I'd say.
Smart man. Okay, this one, I'm not sure, there must be a backstory on this one, but thoughts on the movie The Whale Rider?
I fucking know who that's from too, Charlie Garvey. No, so funny, like when I actually tore my ACL, we ended up going up to neighbourhood pub in Kingsland, and Keisha Castle Hughes was there, so we actually had a little thing for a while. So Charlie Gubb had a little, he knew about that, and he used to always just call me Whale Rider when I used to come to training and stuff like that. So pretty random story. And like we were hanging out for a little bit, and obviously had a little thing, and just young and trying to chase that famous stuff.
Oh, you're a huge fan of the movie then.
I knew. When he found out I was jumping on your podcast, he come through my inbox straight away. Like, fuck, what does this cunt want?
And the next one's from Jacob Lillyman. When are you paying your Sky bill?
So what actually happened there, I remember, so like I got let go from the Warriors like pretty abruptly, and I was like, I'm off to England. So I think there was a Sky bill that come through, but I'd taken off back to Tukoroa by then. I was like, hey bro, I'm moving home, like I've basically run out of money for the next couple of months, and I'm off to the Mount. I had my girlfriend at the time, so so I can dish out on the bill. I'll fix you up now, Bull, if you want.
Oh, that's good stuff. Okay. Ask him what the undefeated pickup line is.
I want to say it's undefeated, but I just get to giggle out every time. So you kind of just go, who are you getting these from? Fuck, I feel like you're hanging around me tonight. So this used to just work. So we used to just go like, oh, like how'd you, like you just be talking normal, and then just abruptly you just go like, oh, how do you do that? And they'll just go like, do what? And you just go like, looks so good. Like that's basically it, and just kind of roll off the back.
Works every time.
Works every time. The Floyd Mayweather of pickup lines, and then they'll laugh. They'll start laughing, and then like get all shy, and then like, do you know what they say? And they're like, what? And you go, if you can make a girl laugh, you can make it do anything, and then the rest is up to you. So that's the lead up. That's the lead up, and you just got to do the rest.
It worked for Keisha.
Next minute, Keisha Castle Hughes.
Okay, tell the listeners about chips, cheese, and mayo.
Yeah, so that's a little combination and took it all. I feel like we invented it, but yeah, you just get like chips and cheese and mayo and sort of wrap it up, and it gets all gooey and it's nice. It's like you go to fish and chip shop and everyone's got chips, cheese and mayo, and then like you have that like raw fish, and it's a pretty random town. We've got the most takeaway spots per capita in country. Yeah. So a few big boys.
What do you wrap it up in?
No, just like fish and chips, like your normal stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you know, you unload like a newspaper.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, by the time it opens up, you pick up a chip and there's like cheese hanging off and mayo. So if you ever swing through the hood, go get some.
Mate, I will. That will be first on the list. Okay, top league player who'd be a superstar in Union.
Oh, Tommy Turbo, obviously. I know you guys sort of do that.
How's he going?
I know you guys sort of see that Geordie Barrett sort of cross collab, but yeah. I think about the Wallabies. If they had like a Cam Munster at 12 and Tommy Turbo at the back and Addo Carr on the wing, like you can see what Korobiti's doing, and like respectfully to Korobiti, he wasn't probably an elite winger in league. So Tommy Turbo would be my first one. He could kick off both feet. He's come from an AFL background. He's obviously rapid. He's got great vision. So yeah, he can kick off both feet, like, and I mean like place kick as well. Like drop it, he can hit a droppy from like 50 off both feet. So he's a special talent. He's the obvious one. Put him at the back there. Yeah, Chris Latham vibe, socks down. Put the torpedoes through.
Mate, but how good is Turbo going at the moment in the NRL? Right, he is just absolutely killing it.
He's going all right, and obviously went up against Melbourne, and they're fucking the Crusaders of. They just seem to shut everyone down. So man, they're a special side as well. I love seeing sides like that.
How do you reckon Cleary would go? I know you probably mentored him through the age grades at the Warriors. He was your ball boy, wasn't he? He watched a lot of your games.
I'd love to say that, but any further from the truth. But he'd be good. Like, he's got a big enough boot, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of us leagueies don't have crazy boots, and I know. Like, the ball's a little bit different. Like, in Union, the ball's a bit shorter and it's not as heavy, and you can get behind it. But he's a sweet striker of the ball. He'd be awesome. I think Matt Burton, bro, he's one guy that's got a massive boot. For some reason, lefties seem to kick the ball a lot better than right footers. So if you went Clary first five, Munster second five, Matt Burton, Senna, Tommy. Slater's bit is like, it's coming this way. It'd just be a nice sort of matchup, you know what I mean? And then you obviously got Richard Mwanga and the Barrett boys, and David Havili's probably one of my favourite players at the moment. Like obviously there's such a technical side to rugby that a lot of people don't appreciate, and they'd have to learn that. But I think Nath would pick it up pretty quickly. He's a smart cookie.
Smart man. How do you reckon Roger's going to go?
Good. Where do you see him playing? Obviously, you'd know a bit more than me.
Mate, I think he's going to have to start on the wing, but see where he ends up and how quickly he can learn it. Centre or fullback would probably be his best position, but I think he's going to have to start on the wing to sort of learn the game the best.
Yeah, we're talking about this the other day. So, like, I like fullbacks when they can kick a ball as well, and like I know like Will Jordan had a more run first and those types of guys, but they're like not always have the biggest boot, but knowing when to kick is just as a skill set as knowing how to kick as well. So that'll be hard, but it'll be interesting though, because in football, like in league, like he's pretty much got one option when he catches the ball. Like, you just got to run it straight into 10 blokes. Where if he caught the ball now and didn't like what he sees, potentially could do a kick. But does he have that kicking game in him? I don't know. But obviously a winger, you could see him at Korobiti, where they can sort of float around and you're not really stuck on that one wing. He'd be pretty interesting. Yeah. But ideally, like 13, bro. Like, in my opinion,
13.
Havili, because Havili can carry your kicking game as well. Like, he kicks well. Yeah. But then you get him a little bit wider. And now Roger knows how to play at the back as well. You can sort of do pretty much how Quaid went to Karevi would have, like out the back there, and he can skin people. So he's got some options, but I think 13 would be nice for me.
Do you think he makes the All Blacks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Too good.
Has to. And saying that, like, Sonny took his time to get there, eh?
Yeah, people forget that too. And same with like Nani Laumape. He wasn't an instant All Black. He took like sort of 4 years before he really understood the game. Same with sort of Sonny, must have been like 3 or 4 years where he was playing for.
What's hard to pick up about that middle part of the field? Like, what's the
I think the biggest thing, the hardest thing, is probably the communication they have to give the 10. You have to really understand the game. Like the 10 relies a lot on their 12 and fullbacks and 13s to give them the right information. The 10's not always calling those shots. So if you've got a 12 who's played league and not giving you much, you're probably going to struggle as the 10, and then the whole game sort of malfunctions from there.
and you're looking, like league is always looking for contact.
Yeah, just carry.
The ball, try and run it over people, and then fucking lose the ball. Boys kick it. See you later. What? Hey, can I ask you a question? Why was Conrad Smith so good?
Smart, real smart guy. Like knew the game really well, was fit. But he's one of those guys that you would rock up. He'd a little bit like you. You go watch him play a club game, and you'd be like, how the hell is he one of the greatest All Blacks to play? Because mate, he wouldn't stand out in a game of club rugby, but the higher the level he went, he was just always thinking next job. Like his mindset was just, he was just switched on all the time. He was fit. His work rate was massive, and just his communication and accuracy was just next level. So when he was in those higher teams, mate, everything he did was just quality, and wasn't making those errors and things.
Because like when you look at a 13, I was like, oh, he kind of wanted to be big and strong and bumping off people.
Yeah.
But I remember John Hart. He was like our director of football at the Warriors, and a few of the Aussie boys are like, oh, like what's the go for like what's the go with Smith? Oh, why is he always picked? And they're like, nah, pretty much it was Richie, Dan, and then him. He's like third in. And like basically the same thing that you said as well. So obviously our lack of knowledge in terms of union doesn't really obviously. Anoni, like, fuck, he's just running over people. He deserves to be there. So, it's interesting. Interesting.
It is, because, I mean, even his catch pass wasn't that great. Couldn't kick the ball. He had, if you look at him from a skill and, strength, he was weak as in the gym. He was slow. It's like, how is he, one of the greatest centres of all time? But he is. I mean, he gives hope to all the white battlers.
I remember they done a room raiders when they went to the World Cup one time, and they went into his room and he was reading books like that thick as well. So he must have been a clever cookie. Okay,
last question. As always, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received? And I know you give out a lot of free advice, and it's always very good quality. So this is going to be potentially the greatest of all time.
Nah, I'll use my own one, bro. So the big thing, my thing is the way I measure success is the first 5 seconds in the morning. Are you excited to get up or you're not? That's basically it. That's how I measure success. Am I excited to get up or not? And people know the difference between a Monday and a Saturday. When it's a Saturday, they're excited because they've compartmentalized their life. But for me, I get to wake up every single day and do exactly what I do and what I want to exactly what I do. And sorry, fucking mixing up my words. Get to do what I love every single day. And honestly, I was up at 2:30 this morning. And a lot of people will say that. I was like, bro, what the fuck are you doing up at that time? But I'm excited. I'm excited to get up and turn up every day and do something and try and create something. And I'm confident, bro. I'll say stuff, then I'll fail as well. So that's just me, bro. Are you excited to get up in the first 5 seconds or not? That's it.
2:30. How come you're up? That is real early. What time do you go to bed? Is there a reason behind getting up so early, other than being really excited?
No, it's just what time I wake up, bro. I don't know. It's usually around 3:30. I've always sort of been an early riser, but I go to bed at 7:30, straight after Shortland Street. Fucking tuck in. So I'm in bed and I watch YouTube stuff, and then I kind of just nod off, and then when I wake up, I just wake up and get going. Right. Get so much shit done, bro. No one's inboxing me, no one's asking me for anything. There's no invoices coming out. There's no staff problems. It's my favorite time of the day.
So how do you get excited for those first 5 seconds? I mean, a lot of people would think, it's cool that you're waking up and you're excited to get up, but I know a lot of people, like you say, aren't. And how do they get excited about that morning, you reckon?
You got to be doing what you love. So the way I talk about my life right now is when you go on holiday, bro. When you go to Bali and it's you're I got here 3 days ago and I've got another 4 nights. You know what I mean? You don't know the difference between a Monday and a Saturday or anything like that. That's kind of how my life is. So it's easy for me to sit there now and go, if you don't hate your job, change your career. But I think it's really important if you do want to change your lifestyle or do something that you love, it's important how you spend what you do after work as well. So you got to put pressure on yourself after work, and then eventually you can get to a point where, whether that's online learning or finding mentors or starting an e-commerce business, I don't know what your fucking thing is. You just got to figure that out. And one of the questions I used to ask myself is, if I got to wake up and do, what would my dream day look like? And then I kind of just reverse engineered from there. And for me, like I said before, like I don't really love clothes, but I love like rocking up and hanging around my mates and like being creative in some way, shape or form, whether that's marketing. And travel was my big one, bro. Like I said, I just want to be able to travel whenever I wanted. And obviously by selling clothes, I'm light, bro. I can go to New York tomorrow, and if I've got a laptop, I can work from there, or I can go to Bali. That was kind of like my big thing. And then I just reverse engineered from there. I wanted to be able to travel and create and be on my own terms. And I just reverse engineered from that. And here I am.
Oh, so good. I knew it would be the best advice we'd had. Like, and I mean, you're doing the inner circle now too. So if listeners are keen to jump on this, go get amongst this. It will change your life. You've heard snippets of ice.
Shut up, bro.
Yeah, you're sponsoring it, eh?
How's whereabouts do you live, bro?
In Nelson, Mapua, like Tasman area.
Yeah. Is that nice around there?
So nice, mate.
Is it? So you use the top of the north, top of the South Island, eh?
Top of the South Island, yeah.
Yeah, what's your population around there?
What's our population? 70,000.
Oh, so it's quite big.
It might be less than that, actually. You've challenged me. Now that you've challenged me, I'm thinking it might be a bit less. It's not that big.
I was looking at you, bro. We're almost the same age, bro. You're like 4 days older than me.
I know, and same weight, same height. It's weird.
Similar careers.
Similar careers, I know. It is weird.
Better outside of football. Yeah, that's me.
But, bro, honestly, really appreciate you coming on the podcast, mate. Like I said at the start, you've inspired so many people, and it's so cool seeing what you're doing. You're big inspiration for me. Love watching what you're doing. Love your podcast. Love all the attributes that you're bringing to the content game. And, mate, so cool to get in touch with you and connect with you and see. Looking forward to what you've got in the future.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. And obviously, great to just sort of jump on and chop it up with you. And I'm sure we'll do plenty more of these. But if you ever need anything, bro, you've got my inbox anyway, so hit me up.
You're a lad. Appreciate it, bro.
Thanks, bro. See you later.